Have you ever thought about the mind's hidden potential for change? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating therapeutic model, and it's built around a pretty wild idea that to solve a problem that's inside you, you might first have to imagine leaving your own body. I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? Can you really solve a problem by leaving your body? But what if I told you there's a structured therapeutic approach that uses this exact idea as its foundation? That's the big question we're going to unpack. Okay, let's get one thing straight right off the bat, because this is super important. When most of us hear the word dissociation, our minds immediately go to trauma. You know, that automatic defense mechanism when the nervous system just gets completely overwhelmed. But that is not what we're talking about today. Therapeutic dissociation is something totally different. It's an intentional, guided process. It's used as a tool for solving problems, not just surviving them. So in this first part, we're going to completely redefine what dissociation can mean, at least in this specific hypnotic context. We're shifting it from an unconscious reaction to a very conscious strategy for making real change. So what is it really? Well, the model works like this. A person is guided into a trance, and then they imagine the part of them that's holding on to a problem, literally leaving their body. They then take that problem to some kind of external, metaphorical place to find a solution, and then, this is the key part, they bring that new solved state back into themselves. All right, so how does this actually work in a session? Let's break down the step-by-step process that a therapist or a guide would use to take someone on this journey from problem to solution. It's a pretty clear 5-step path. First, you pinpoint the problem inside you. Then, you enter a hypnotic trance. From there, you actually visualize that specific part of you floating out. You take it to this metaphorical space. The source material calls it a place where change happens. And then, you bring the brand new solution back into your body. And here's a perfect real-world example of how this can be applied. For something like weight loss, a facilitator might guide a client to imagine the part of them that's holding on to the extra weight physically drifting up and out. This act of externalizing the problem suddenly makes it something you can observe and change from a whole new perspective. And this is what's so cool. It shows just how versatile this model is. It's not just for changing behaviors. A method called the arrow technique, which is used for pain management, is built on the exact same idea. By turning the pain into something external, it becomes an object you can observe and alter instead of an all-consuming feeling. That powerful shift in perspective is everything. Now you're probably wondering, okay, but why the trance state? Why is that so important? Why would a therapist need to guide someone deeper into hypnosis for this whole thing to work? Well, the idea is that these deeper states of trance help to quiet down our conscious, critical mind, you know, the one that's always analyzing everything. This gives you better access to your subconscious patterns. It creates a much more receptive mental space for what the source calls deep work, letting you address core beliefs without all that usual mental resistance. So how do you even get there? Well, facilitators have a whole toolbox of methods, and they're all designed specifically to guide a person into these deeper states of relaxation and focus. And what's really interesting here is just how many different tools there are. We're talking about things like guided visualization, gentle physical cues like rocking, specific breathing patterns, a technique called fractionation, and even simple tasks like imagining an object disappearing. Let's take a closer look at a few of these. First up, we've got visualization. This is probably one of the most common and powerful tools in the kit. It usually involves creating a mental image of moving downward, which suggests to the mind that you're going deeper into relaxation. A classic example is a script just like this one, where you imagine walking down a set of stairs, and with each step you go further into a trance. You could get the same effect by imagining riding an elevator down, or maybe an escalator, all heading to a basement of relaxation. It's all about the power of suggestion. All right, next we have something called fractionation. Now, this one sounds complex, but it's deceptively simple and incredibly effective. It's basically a method of deepening a trance just by repeatedly opening and closing your eyes. The whole process is just a simple loop. You're asked to open your eyes and then close them again, but with the suggestion that each time you close them, you'll go even deeper than before. This repetition basically trains your mind to associate closing your eyes with dropping into a deeper state of relaxation. The trance gets more profound with every single cycle. And of course, there's breath work. But here's the twist. It's not just about the physical act of breathing. The real power comes from the language that a facilitator pairs with your breath. And this quote just nails it. Simply breathing in and out, that might not do much on its own, but when you pair it with hypnotic language, like saying as you breathe out, your body doubles the state you're experiencing, you're giving the mind a direct instruction. It's the language that really unlocks the power of the breath. So, when we put all of these pieces together, what does it all really mean? We've looked at a powerful model for change and the tools that help us get there. So let's just zoom out and look at the bigger picture for a second. Ultimately, what this model really suggests is that our minds have this incredible structured ability for self-healing that we just rarely ever tap into. By using these techniques to metaphorically step outside of a problem, we can completely change our perspective and unlock real, tangible solutions. It shows that by temporarily making an issue external, we can create permanent internal change. And that brings us to our final thought. The source material calls this therapeutic space a place where magic happens. And that's such a powerful idea. So I'll just leave you with this question. If you could take one problem, one challenge, to that place, what would it be? Thanks for tuning in.